This is Robin on the Road, your concierge for all things travel, and it's time to hit the road again, this time to Smithfield, North Carolina, and the Ava Gardner Museum. Pack your bags, let's go. On a recent on-the-road trip, I stopped off at the Premium Outlet Mall located in Smithfield, North Carolina. I have been up the I-95 corridor countless times and have seen the advertising for the Ava Gardner Museum. Why would one of the most beautiful and iconic actresses have a museum in a small agricultural community like Smithfield? I can tell you the answer to that question did not disappoint. I fell in love with Ava after seeing her play Miss Julie Laverne in the musical Showboat, and I was not the only one. The collection is a labor of love for Dr. Thomas Banks, who at 12 years old received a kiss on the cheek from a secretarial student. That student was Ava Gardner. She was born on Christmas Eve, 1922, at a location called Grabtown, 7 miles outside Smithfield. Known as a tomboy, Ava may well have lived as a country girl, if not for a photo taken of her by her brother-in-law on a trip to New York in 1939 to visit her sister. Wearing a straw hat in a Gone with the Wind style, he placed the photo in his studio window, and it was noticed by a clerk from Lowe's Theater, who recommended they send the photo to MGM. They received a call back from the man in charge of talent, Marvin Scheck, who was unable to understand Ava due to her thick Southern accent, but he sent her for a film test and she was offered a 7-year contract at $50 a week. On her second day at MGM, Ava met one of the most popular actors in Hollywood, Mickey Rooney, and he began asking her out. After a few dates in which he was not able to get anywhere, he started asking her to marry him. On January 10, 1942, Hollywood's favorite star will marry a sharecropper's daughter after only a few dates, and within a few weeks, Ava has gone from a front porch in Smithfield to marrying Hollywood royalty. The marriage will last a year. After divorcing Mickey, she will date several Hollywood men, including Howard Hughes. She will become his muse, and he will pursue her, but never catch her. On October 17, 1945, Ava will marry bandleader Artie Shaw. Although she will try very hard to live up to his high ideals, he will belittle her intellect and shortcomings, not always privately. They will divorce in a year. In 1946, Shaw will compose the Grabtown Grapple. While Ava's personal life was in shambles, her career begins to heat up, from walk-on bit parts to a 1946 adaptation of Ernest Hemingway's The Killers, starring newcomer Burt Lancaster. Hemingway will say Ava was the only actress who portrayed the characters the way he envisioned them. They will become lifelong friends, and she will make 2 more adaptations, The Snows of Kilimanjaro and The Sun Also Rises. Ava will star twice with Clark Gable, first in The Huckster, and then as Honey Bear Kelly in Magombo, a role she will be nominated for an Oscar. She will make 3 movies with her friend Gregory Peck, The Gambler, The Snows of Kilimanjaro, and On the Beach. He will call her a great talent. In 1949, she is one of the stars in a big-name movie, The Great Sinner. But it's her role as Julie Laverne in Showboat in 1951 that catapults Ava to stardom, beating out Judy Garland and Dinah Shore. Although disappointed at having her singing dub, the film is the highest-grossing movie of the year. It will star 2 other North Carolina natives. Ava had met Frank Sinatra several times over the years, and they had become friends. Sinatra was a married Catholic with a reputation for women. At a party in 1949, all that changed, and they became the love of each other's life. Married on November 7, 1951, she will help his faltering career by getting him a screen test as Angelo Maggio in From Here to Eternity, reigniting his career and winning him an Oscar. Sadly, they will divorce in 1957. During her 1954 role in The Barefoot Contessa as the most beautiful animal in the world, Ava will fall in love with all things Spain and move there within a year. It will become her home for the next 12 years. In 1964, Ava will receive a Golden Globe nomination for her role in Night of the Iguana, co-starring Richard Burton. She will make only 6 movies during the 1960s and 8 movies during the 1970s. The woman you learn about at the museum is so much more than the beautiful movie actress on the screen. She was a daughter, sister, friend, a simple Southern girl who challenged the social norms of her time. Ava learned to live her life by her own terms. She never married again after Sinatra, lived abroad and away from management of Hollywood and the studio machines. Her talent must have been incredible for her to be able to make her own rules at that time. She performed 62 roles over a 44-year career. Ava will pass away at her London home on January 25, 1990, and will return home for the last time. She is buried at Sunset Memorial Park in Smithfield along with her father, mother, and brother, a simple grave for a country girl. For years, Dr. Thomas Banks, the boy who had been kissed at 12 years old by a secretarial student named Ava Gardner, would display his 40 years of collecting her memorabilia. The two were great friends. Then, in 1978, Doris Cannon, a journalist at the Smithfield Herald, will write an article, "Isn't it time Smithfield saluted Ava?" In November of 2000, a permanent museum will be opened in downtown Smithfield. An incredible mural was painted on the museum by a local artist, and the town hosts honorary days for its most famous citizen. I highly recommend taking 2 hours out of your next trip on the 95 and stop into the Ava Gardner Museum. Things to know before you go. The Ava Gardner Museum is open 7 days a week with prices ranging from $8 to $12. Discounts for seniors and military, children under 6 are free. The collection is change, so even if you've been before, it's worth a return trip. The museum can be seen in about 2 hours and a mobility impairment can be accommodated. The cemetery is a few miles away. Smithfield is known for the Carolina Premium Outlet Mall. With names like Polo, Under Armour, Yankee Candle, it's definitely worth a stop. On this road trip, I chose to stay at the Holiday Inn Express. It was clean, quiet, and had a very good breakfast. Restaurants are limited, but the locals recommend the Outback Steakhouse and the Cracker Barrel. But I have also enjoyed the San Marcos Mexican restaurant and the Kobe Japanese Steakhouse for sushi and teppanyaki. I will try to update you on my next trip through. Lastly, fellow traveler, I'd like to thank you for joining me on the road to Smithfield, North Carolina and the Ava Gardner Museum. Please smack that bell and subscribe, as I wouldn't want you to miss any additional road adventures. Check out my latest video on the Robert Roussomont Museum in Farmville, Virginia, an absolute civil rights story. This is Robin on the Road, your concierge for all things travel, and I hope to see you on the road. Until then, safe travels.